So now that we've gotten through all of the Titans Return toys that I can handle for one stretch of reviews, I really thought it was time to go into something completely different, non-Transformer. I thought I'd bring something home from MetroCon that would be ripe for reviewing, and no, not really. I kept it pretty thin at MetroCon. But I did rescue this big plastic bug, so as long as we're talking about the newest of Transformers, we might as well go back to G1 for a little bit. This is Repugnus, one of the G1 monster bots. Yeah, they kind of started running out of vehicle mode, so let's just make them kind of animalistic beasts instead. And the Autobots, for some reason, were the ones to get them, and that's a little bit strange, but it's an interesting section of Transformer history. Look at the big bug head on this guy. Big bright green eyes on his brown head. This is bizarre. This is a very bizarre figure in and of itself. So he is some kind of insectoid monster. He's got kind of the mandible pincers on the side of his head. He's kind of, I don't know, these kind of mantis blades coming off of his hand. He is very, very strange. I mean, at least the other monster bots you can kind of go with. You know, it's a two-headed dragon, okay? It's kind of like a winged saber-toothed tiger. All right, see. He's a big, two-legged bipedal bug. Sure, let's go with that. No one else has any better ideas? Nothing? Okay, sure, big red bug. Okay, why not? So, Repugnus himself cast in quite a few plastic colors here. He's got a lot going on. This brown kind of like, I don't know, it's not quite brown. I'm trying to find the right word. It's quite kind of in the burgundy area. We got some white kind of blending to the off-white, some bright red going through hips, arms, shoulders, and whatnot. There's more of the brown. We also have some gray for everything sharp on him, pincers, claws, as well as mandibles, and a lot of yellow there in the center. He's a colorful guy, so I guess he fits at home with the auto. Maybe that's why they're all Autobots, because like, oh, no, you guys are way too colorful to be Decepticons. You just go over there. We have an image to keep up, and you guys aren't handling very well. So the one thing about this that you're probably pointing out is posture, as I have him kind of hunched over and monstrous right now, whereas most of the time, if you see stock photos of this guy, he's going to be upright like this. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Aside from looking too much like his robot mode, and I think you're taking away some of the monster's appearance. And usually, in my experience, I find if G1 included some kind of hinges or articulation points, they're pretty much meant to be used in the transformation in some way. I kind of prefer this hunched over look. He looks a little bit more monstrous. There's some elements that I can get behind, the sickles for the arms, etc., and all that. That's all good. What I'm struggling with is this big backpack unit, which I suppose is supposed to be like beetle wings, a big shell on the back, but you got some thrusters, but no actual like wings or anything that looks like it would come out for wings, and it doesn't really accomplish anything. It's just this big hunk of plastic, and even in robot mode does not do a single thing. So I'm not entirely sure what they're going for there. It doesn't even fit flush to the back. I think that's what gets me the most. It just kind of floats there off the hinge. But aside from that, you do have some articulation points here. The arms do go up and down a little bit. You hear that ratcheting joint go off in there. Hips, again, ratchets are great. Knees do have some range of motion in them. So even the waist. So even then, he's actually got, like, I found this out with Double Cross, is some of these guys have a surprising amount of articulation for their age. It's not like he's going to get into dynamic poses, but hey, it's something. Also, he is a G1 monster bot, which means his main gimmick is his sparking, which comes, in this case, out of his mouth. Let's see if I can get him going. There we go. The spark on this thing still works great. It's like the original user didn't even know it could spark. And you also see the same effect also extends those mandibles outwards, so he has kind of a pincer action going on with his mouth. I really like that. I like the double. I like the two-layered gimmick to that. Grotesque used something similar where his mouth would go up and down when he's sparking too. Didn't get that so much with Double Cross, so I was actually really happy to I was really happy that all still worked so well. Okay, so that's about what we got for bug mode. I will point out there's nowhere for his gun to mount in this mode, which is kind of defiant of anything G1. Also, he does have the old school rub sign, which I might as well show quickly. Come on, does that work? Weird. There we go. Still works. A little bit of rubbing, a little bit of heat. You can see, yeah, he is actually an Autobot, strangely enough. Okay, so let's get this guy into robot mode, and we'll see how he comes out. Gotta flip all that up. Straighten up the legs a little bit, and then the thighs. Slide down like so. You'll hear him kind of click in if you got him in the right spot. But of course, if you don't have him in the right spot, nothing happens. There we go. Click. There we go. With that done, I'm going to rotate this around. Flip all that out. Sickles go in. These sections from the back now become the actual robot mode arms. We'll flip out the hands. He actually has quite a bit going on in his transformation for a G1 toy. In particular, I like this, where the beast mode arms become his chest. That's unique. I don't even remember that in Beast Wars. And then with the head flipped up, we have our G1 Repugnus in his robot mode. And again, looking very bright for something that becomes such a big, ugly beast of a monster. He is definitely an Autobot with such a bright color palette going on. Okay, so we'll take a look at the head, as is tradition here on Random Review. And he's got that shade of yellow that just really likes to get washed out very, very easily. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. He also has one of the more boring heads for the monster bots. You know, you can see a lot of detail going on. Unfortunately, it's all washed out by that yellow plastic, and only the eyes are painted in, which is really detrimental to the design. You know, like the other two, Grotesque and Double Cross, at least had enough paint to really kind of make them stand out a little bit, whereas this just kind of looks like a yellow block stuck on top of the robot, which is kind of unfortunate. Proportion-wise, he is big and blocky the way you would expect G1 to look, and the colors, however, are pretty evenly distributed here. They're pretty much the same, though we do have a lot more white exposed, especially there in the midsection, which I do like, a little bit of extra detail being revealed. And the thighs that were completely hidden in the bug mode, revealing a lot of white and hiding more of the brown. I think that's the visual trick here, is all of that white getting revealed and all the brown kind of hiding away. It's mostly ended up as a big backpack because the bug head doesn't transform at all, and the wings, again, don't transform at all. And his backpack is actually about as wide as he is, which, and I mean like deep kind of width. Like, you know what I mean. You can see it, which is kind of weird. And then the back, it's just tech detailing, some extra stickering. That's about it. One thing that struck me, every Repugnus I've seen has the Autobot sticker put there. Why not, like, on the arm? Like, right here. Like, it's kind of weird. I can't see his faction symbol now. But, like, every one of them had that Autobot symbol there. So I assume that's where they meant it to be. Beyond that, not a whole lot else going on. It is G1, after all. So he does have several limitations. The spark gimmick doesn't work in this mode because, well, clearly it's all built up there. What do we have as far as articulation? Well, the knees still work a little bit. We've lost a point of articulation. We lost one of the hinge points, but his hips still go back and forth all the way around. His waist still rotates very well. Nothing in the head, but he does have the arms, which are double elbowed, just to get, like, you're going to really get that much use out of them. And then the shoulders do have one point of motion moving forward, so you at least have that. So again, he does stand out to be a little bit more articulate than your standard G1 toys. And then, of course, you have his primary weapon. I believe it's supposed to be a venom gun, because he's supposed to be a pretty noxious type character. How could he not be? He's a gigantic bug man. And then, of course, you know, mounted in the hand. And that's pretty much what you got as far as playability. Back in the days where toys required imagination, imagine that. So that, my friends, is G1 Repugnus in all of his yellow and red glory. He's definitely the oddball out from the G1 monster bots. Does not have the same bestial appearance going for the insect motif, which gives him variety. but at the same time, he might look better in beast mode than he does in robot mode. The robot mode's okay. It's very blocky. It is very much G1, but it doesn't really go for anything new the way the other two do. He just kind of stays pretty much where he is. The articulation, like some of the others I've seen in the Monster Bots, actually manages to stay a little bit better than your average, so that's to his advantage. And on mine, the Sparker still works really, really good, and I like the secondary pincer gimmick. He is definitely an oddball. He suffering from this typical stuff from G1, but still also having his advantages. So I'd say if you're a fan of the Bug, he's probably worth the pickup if you can find him inexpensively enough. Other than that, he's probably going to be way too out there for most collectors. So you kind of have to have a weird spot in your heart for this guy.